I have to see the mic is not on. It's on?
Yeah, that's not the best mic.
This is not the best mic, but you are the best people. And I mean that very literally. That's like literally what I'm going to say for the next 5 or 6 minutes is you are the best and our whole future is in your hands. So, literally, our Constitution needs your protection, and you can do it. And I'm even going to audaciously claim it could be fun, but I'll get there. So I'm going to walk you through the why and the how. I'm going to build a lot on my amazing colleagues. So first, the law. The law is always changing. Sometimes it changes in ways that we intuitively think that it has to change by Congress writing new laws, but it also changes by us reinterpreting things. And this is part of what Julian was just talking about with the aggressive reads of existing laws. And so it means as it's changing, there's going to be some experimentation and a lot of disagreement. You can think about these executive orders as ways of trying to change the law, pushing against the boundaries, the constraints on the executive office, and pushing against the status quo. So some people are in favor of these changes, and others are not. But this is part of what's animating us tonight. It's not just the changes in policy, which is really what's getting into the news, but that's not why we decided to come together tonight to make arguments about changes in policy. We are here because we're also concerned, and my colleagues have made this really clear, about the changes to the process. That is, these executive orders are pushing against our understanding about what the authorities are within the executive office in terms of the process for making policy. So if you're changing that process, you're literally changing our constitutional understanding. That is, you're changing our Constitution. You're changing our Constitution because it is written. I got my copy here, and this teeny little thing also contains the Declaration of Independence. So that's how short, gorgeously short, our Constitution is. But the Constitution isn't just those written words. It's also filled in very much by our interpretations of those words and norms, constitutional norms. So what is a norm? A norm is just our expectations of behavior, and my colleagues have already started to talk about this tonight. So for example, how many of you, and I want you to raise your hand high, when you're crossing the diag, avoid stepping on the block M? Thank God. All right. So the Wolverine spirit runs high. Now, what? I know you were told during orientation that, if you step on the block M, you fail your next blue bic or whatever. But there's other reasons why you don't step on it, right? I mean, it's like you love this place for all of its imperfection, and it dishonors it. And so if you accidentally step on it, or if someone else steps on it, what happens? This is something I didn't ask who willfully steps on the block M because I didn't want to out you, but what happens if someone steps on the block M? Like, is this what DPSS is there for? Are they going to come and, maybe they should, but no. So this is a norm that is enforced by us. Like, you're walking with your friend, they're like spending too much time on their phone like they always do, and they are about to make that step, and you're like, whoa, you pull them aside, right? You help them out. You're enforcing. This is social enforcement. It's enforced by us. That's what norms are. They're enforced by us. Same is true for these constitutional norms or these democratic norms. Some of them have the backing in law, like separation of powers, independent judiciary, free and fair elections, the peaceful transfer of power. But even behind those, behind the law, that law depends on us. Then there are crucial norms that don't have the backing of law. My colleagues brought some of them up, and so, for example, accountability, transparency. Professor Primus talked at length about the rule of law, power being held by the office, not the person, that we prioritize, we expect that people who are elected officials will prioritize the public interest ahead of their own private interests. We have this expectation. This expectation of pluralism, of respecting difference, not trying to imagine that our country is filled with people that we're all exactly alike one another, and that there is room and space for all of us. So this sense of equity and equality comes from a commitment to pluralism. Quite importantly, and multiple of my colleagues have mentioned this, forbearance. The Constitution depends on those who are in power not abusing their power. All democratic constitutions, where ultimately the people hold the power, depend on the people continuously claiming that power. So that implies the norm of civic engagement. You all, us, being involved. And it also means that we also have to have these norms of pluralism, of respecting one another across differences if our Constitution is going to stay alive. And to see why, let me just get nerdy for a second about the way these norms are constituted. 3 simple parts. First, there's this expectation of behavior and a sense that this expectation is commonly held. That is, we all share this expectation. You do not step on that block M, right? You do not act, if you're elected to a public office, acting only in your private interests. You do not do it. So common understanding of this expectation. Second, a sense of agency or responsibility. Because it's socially enforced. So if you see a violation, we act. Third, you don't have to do it alone. It's socially enforced. That is, we rely on one another. We back one another up. So if you are acting on behalf of upholding one of our democratic norms, we will be there with you. So these norms, I hear all the time, so many, and I'm sure many of you have heard this too, what the heck can we do, right? But if you think about the power of these norms, the power of the norms to let our public officials know that we're watching, that we care, and we put democracy above our own private interests, or we will not let the would-be tyrant divide us, because we are going to back one another up as we defend those democratic norms. That's what we can do. So thinking about democracy as being by all of us, for all of us. That's this sense of the collective we that can be really powerful. So, what can you do? What can we do? You are saving democracy. You are protecting democracy when you call out behavior that violates your expectations, that runs counter to our collective power. Bearing in mind some humility, things change. Maybe there's going to be some change that could be in our collective interest. So with that, be a little bit humble and curious. Listen if someone else is making an argument in favor of a change that you think is crazy. Listen. And listen be picky about your sources, be picky about the evidence and the rationale that they're providing, but be open to changing your mind. And seek the common ground to build on making progress toward a restoration, the resilience of our beautiful democracy. So far, none of this has sounded fun, important, but maybe not so fun. So let me just wrap by making a suggestion. It doesn't have to be boring. What you do does not have to be boring. I was talking with someone last night who told me about something maybe you all know about. NAFO. NAFO as an organized group online, these cute little dogs, Korean dogs, that, anyway, this was a meme that started as criticizing the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So it was a pro-Ukrainian meme that developed that really was trolling Putin. And it became this force. They used humor, they used satire, but when they were doing that, they are reinforcing this norm of the sovereignty of a nation. Why can't we do the same thing? Why can't we have a University of Michigan meme army that's defending our Constitution by pointing out violations to the rule of law, violations to our democratic norms? And I know we can do it in a way that is both fun and incredibly powerful, because we're Wolverines. Thanks.